Okay, so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to talk through the worry recording form, which we use in cognitive behaviour therapy, as a way of kind of training ourselves to notice the content of the particular worries that we have, and to start to train ourselves to notice whether these worries are things that actually have a place in reality, and things that are actually there, and things that we can deal with, and things that are what we call hypothetical. Okay, this particular type of worry recording form is used in a couple of different models of anxiety disorders, particularly in terms of generalised anxiety disorder. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to work through the different stages. Obviously, you can print out the diary yourself and have a little look at it, and see if you can use that as it applies to either your own problem or with any clients that you might be working with. As you can see over here, we've got our situation and trigger. Okay, so for each of us, when we're dealing with an anxiety disorder, there might be particular types of situations that are there to basically kick off all of our anxiety. Okay, what we're interested in here, particularly in this column, is just to see if there's any particular patterns, any particular things that basically trigger our anxiety generally. Okay, so as an example, let's just say the situation and trigger could be, I don't know, let's say that we receive a big bill. Okay, so we receive a bill, the big brown envelope comes through the door, we look at that envelope and we see that, maybe it's from the tax, or maybe it's from the bank or credit cards or something like that. We notice that bill, and then what we're interested in is what actually happens in our body. Okay, so when we talk about anxiety, we're often we're not talking about the mental process of worry, we're talking more about the emotion that we feel. Okay, so anxiety, it's that, that kind of fear emotion there that we've got. Sometimes the physical aspects of it, we might start to feel increased heart rate, we might feel physical tension, sometimes the changes in our breathing, all that kind of stuff. Here, what we want to do is just identify exactly how intense that sensation of anxiety is. Okay, so first of all, we receive the bill, and next thing we notice, we start to feel anxious. So as an example, let's just say we feel, I don't know, say 70% intense anxiety. Okay, so it's up there. All right, now there will be lots of occasions in life where we might see a bill and it doesn't lead to 70% anxiety. Okay, there may be times in our lives where we would have received the bill and it would have been absolutely fine, we would have thought that we could deal with it, no problem whatsoever. Okay, so what we're interested in here is finding out what it is about this particular occasion that triggers the worry based thoughts. Okay, now a good way of thinking about worry is thinking about a what if. A definition of worry is that it's a mental process, and it's often it's always future focused, and it's always threat focused as well. Okay, so when I worry, I'm thinking about what if this happens, what if this happens, what if that happens. Okay, so when we think a little bit about what might happen if we were to receive a bill and the bill makes us feel anxiety, let's think a little bit about the typical what if. Might be, what if I can't afford to pay? Okay, and again, there might be other what ifs that we notice there. There may be other things. Let's just say, for example, it might be, what if it's a final demand, maybe, or what if I've missed something. Okay, now what we're interested in here, if we go along to this other column, hypothetical or real, this needs a bit of defining. Okay, so when we talk about a real worry or a real concern, we're going back to that what if, and we're having a little think about whether the actual what if has happened in reality. Okay, so what actual concrete, palpable evidence have we got at the moment to suggest that this is a real concern? Okay, so for instance, if I receive that bill and I know that my bank is 100% cleared, I know that I've overspent, and I know that 100% I definitely haven't got that money, then I'm dealing with a real problem. Okay, I'm dealing with a real issue. Okay, and because it's a real issue, there's going to be things that I can do about it. So going over to this bit over here, we know that if it's real, then actually I can take steps to solve that problem. Okay, so if I've got no money, maybe I could ask to borrow some money from someone. Maybe I could contact the company that sent the bill and see if we can renegotiate payments. Maybe I could put overtime in at work or something like that. Okay, now the distinction between hypothetical and real: hypothetical is where we find ourselves worrying or listening to what ifs that don't actually have a basis in our reality. Okay, don't actually have a basis of having happened yet. Okay, so again, using this example here, we receive a bill, we feel anxious, we have that what if I can't afford to pay. If I haven't looked in the bank account, if I haven't checked how much money I've got, if I have no real idea about whether I can afford to pay that or not, that is a hypothetical. Okay, that is something there that actually I haven't got the basis in reality currently to, to even give any weight to this particular what if or this worry. Okay, similarly, these are the kinds of concerns down here. So what if it's a final demand? Again, I've not opened that bill yet, so that would be a hypothetical. And also, what if I've missed something? Again, it's something that might create a bit of anxiety for us, but until actually it becomes a real concrete problem, it remains in the hypothetical realm. It remains in the realm of simply a mental what if. Okay, so what we're trying to do with this particular diary is we're trying to train ourselves to discriminate between what is a hypothetical worry and what is real. Okay, so let's just say in this instance, I've not checked my bank account. I don't know how much money I've got there. I don't know if I can afford to pay it, and so because I don't know if either way if I can afford to pay it or not, I'm going to say that is hypothetical. Because it's hypothetical, then there's nothing much I can do about this. Okay, what it means is that further worry about, again, elsewhere on the site we talk a little bit about what kinds of worry chains and things like that. But if something is hypothetical at that very first point, then there's actually no point in worrying further. Okay, it means that it hasn't happened. It means that further more of this mental process of worry is going to be futile. It's just going to contribute to and maintain my anxiety. Okay, now let's just say I open that envelope and I see that it's a final demand. Okay, so actually it becomes real then. Yeah, it becomes a real problem, and because it's a real problem, then I've got the things there and the resources in front of me to actually take some steps to deal with it. Okay, I could worry about it, but because worry is simply a mental process, that means that basically it's not going to have any effect on the issue. Okay, so when we go into this final column, if we decide that it is a real issue, then actually we know there are things we can do about it. So if it's a final demand, what could I do? I could problem solve things. I might, I don't know, speak to someone to borrow some money. Okay. Or I might contact the company that issued the bill and renegotiate maybe. Okay, so because it's real and there's things that I can do about it, I've then got a bit more of an action plan about what I can and can't do. I'm not engaged in the hypothetical. If it's hypothetical, then any subsequent worry isn't going to make any difference. Okay. Now, elsewhere on the site, I've gone through the Generalised Anxiety Disorder model in a lot more depth, but this is the first part of it. So it's about training yourself to notice that worry. Using the diary, is this hypothetical or is it real?